Hey, what's going on, road trippers? Road Trip Nate here. Once again, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, as the captions at the top showed, I thought I would start a new series, which I had going on in my brain last night. I decided to start doing a a comparison video between two cities. The top five reasons, the top five things I like in either city, and give you my pick on, based on my own opinion, which is the better of the two cities. Tonight I thought I would do, as the caption stated, Kansas City and Dallas, because as a lot of people know by now, I, for the last 18, 19 years, I have been a Dallas Cowboys fan. Just last several months ago, I recently became a Kansas City Chiefs fan because I'm constantly tired of being let down by the Dallas Cowboys. They, I have a problem with Jerry Jones owning the team and wanting to be the GM, constantly having yes man head coaches, having the most talented roster in the NFL on paper, and going 8-8, 7-9, 9-7, maybe if the ball rolls their way, 10-6. It became way too frustrating for me after 18, 19 years of constantly just them giving us expectations on paper and then on the field, and then throwing a head scratcher in there. It's like, really, what are we doing? I have a Jerry Jones problem. As I said, he constantly hires yes man head coaches. Jason Garrett lasted 10 years uh, just because he was Jerry Jones' best friend, or seemed like it anyway. And then they hire Mike McCarthy. And yes, I know Dak Prescott got hurt this year, but as I have watched on ESPN, they may have been 2 games better with Dak Prescott. That's about it. They may have gone 8-8 this year, even with all the injuries they had. The offensive line was not what it has been the last many years. Ezekiel Elliott's fumbled fingers without Dak Prescott, but it led me to jumping ship to the Kansas City Chiefs. I live here in Northwest Arkansas, so I get to watch every Cowboys game. And I'm like, if I'm gonna jump to another team, the Chiefs are the only team that I can watch every single one of their games. In the year 2020, it was very depressing for me and a lot of other, and most of America. There was not a lot of happiness that I found in 2020. But good, the one good about 2020 was I I watched every Chiefs game this year because, like I said, they came on uh, every single week. It gave me a lot of happiness watching that team play because it was just a fun team to watch. It was not depressing like the Dallas Cowboys on top of everything else in 2020. So it was just it was watching the Kansas City Chiefs was kind of something that took me away from 2020. It kind of just took my mind off of it. So, and most of my family are Chiefs fans. My uncle, I was texting him, telling him all the reasons why I was leaving the Dallas Cowboys fan base, and he basically welcomed me with open arms into the Chiefs fan base, saying, "Welcome to Chiefs Kingdom." My grandpa was a Chiefs fan. The My best friend of all time passed away of lung cancer that spread to his brain in 2002. My best friend of all time was a Chiefs fan. He was also an LA Rams fan because he was from the Los Angeles area. But more on that at a later date. I'll talk about that at a later date. His story from what I've heard. But and then my dad asked me on Christmas Day. He was like, "You do realize the Chiefs won the Super Bowl last year?" And I'm like, "That is literally not the reason why I decided to go to the Chiefs. Because it's because I, I have enjoyed watching the 2020 and the 2021 version of the Kansas City Chiefs. I It gives me an escape from 20. It gave me an escape from 2020 and how bad the Cowboys have been since I've been a fan. I have no idea when I started watching the Cowboys, but it was like because how let down I have always been as a Cowboys fan. I and with how 2021 went, it it just seemed like that was the breaking point for me because the Kansas City Chiefs were my escape from 2020 because I actually found happiness watching this team play in 2020 and now into 2021. So with that in mind, now that we've almost used up 10 minutes, time to compare, in my opinion, my top five favorite places in Dallas and my top five favorite places in Kansas City. Let's get started. Got the list here. We're going to start off with Dallas in no particular order. Well, yes, in order. Number five, Bucky's. I love Bucky's. The one I went to was maybe a little bit out, just past Dallas, right past the Texas Motor Speedway, the NASCAR race. Bucky's is wow. That is a huge gas station. If y'all have never been to Bucky's, it is freaking great. It is awesome. It is a huge gas station that has everything. It's like a little mini department store as a gas station. It has all these little. You can find furniture at Bucky's. But moving on, Babes. Babes is a good uh, down home southern soul food restaurant in Dallas. They have a couple different restaurants. The one I went to, I think it was in Arlington. They had one there, but they bring out all these, just big platters of, just down home southern cooking from fried chicken to mashed potatoes, fried okra, green beans, mac and cheese. It they bring out big portions. It it's just and it's not not really that expensive, but they bring out huge portions. It's like eating at your grandmother's kitchen. It's just it's a good restaurant to eat at. I encourage anybody that visits Dallas to eat at that restaurant. Number three, the Dallas skyline. I love the Dallas skyline. It is a unique skyline because the Reunion Tower, I think is what it's called, which gives it a uniqueness which you don't see in a lot of different. It's kind of like when you go to Seattle, you get the Space Needle, or St. Louis, you got the Arch. Dallas, you have the Reunion Tower. That's what I believe is what it's called, and it gets all lit up at New Year's. So that's number three for Dallas. Number two, the Fort Worth Stockyards. I had always wanted to visit the Fort Worth Stockyards just because I had always wanted to see what it was like, and I was not disappointed. They have this shopping area inside this old train station, just from beginning to end. It's just shops, and they have the train car that goes. I think the train car still goes uh, through the middle of it. That was pretty cool. And I had always wanted to see a cattle drive, which got to see that a genuine cattle drive, which I was kind of disappointed by how how little cattle that they had in it. They maybe had 9 or 12 cattle that they had on that cattle drive, but it was still cool to see. The Fort Worth Stockyards, I highly recommend going and see them. Number one in Dallas, my favorite places, Six Flags Over Texas. I've been there 4 times maybe. One of my, if not my favorite amusement park I've ever been to. Silver Dollar City is right up there. I will have to do a comparison video on those two one of these days. Six Flags Over Texas has my favorite ride, the Titan. It has the Texas Giant. It has several other roller coasters. It is definitely the best attraction within 6 hours of here. Best amusement park. So, but yeah, Six Flags Over Texas is definitely my favorite thing to do in Dallas, Texas. Now, moving on, Kansas City. Number five in Kansas City, McDee's, which is eh, a little bit south of Kansas City. But I always love stopping in there when I go to Kansas City because they have 25 or 30 different styles of bratwurst, homemade. Uh, I always go in there and always, get a couple different kinds of bratwurst because I love bratwurst because I'm of German descent. I love bratwurst. So I love stopping in at McDee's. Uh, Number four, Worlds of Fun. Been there a few times. Maybe, maybe twice that I've been there. Not quite as good as Six Flags Over Texas or Silver Dollar City, but it's still a good amusement park. It's got some good roller coasters. Y'all know me. Anything about my channel. I love amusement parks. I I want to eventually do more amusement parks. Worlds of Fun. A couple times I've been there. It was a fun time. Uh, Number three, Kansas Motor Speedway. I'm from the South. I love NASCAR. I loved going to a NASCAR race at Kansas Motor Speedway, which is just a little bit west of Kansas City, Missouri, downtown Kansas City, and Kansas City, Kansas. But that was fun. I have shown y'all my couple Kyle Busch stuff I got at the race. The, the earplugs that I got, the $20 earplugs. Because the race is so loud, you have to have earplugs. You cannot sit through the entire race without them. The Kansas Motor Speedway was fun. Going to the NASCAR race there, that was fun. Number two, the Power and Light District. Spot I always gotta stop at every time I go to Kansas City. The bar hopping spot of Kansas City. It it's a two-story bar hopping spot with just bars on both floors, just encompassing both floors, with a center stage right front and center, where during sports events they show on a big screen the games. They have concerts there. It's a fun spot to bar hop. Not during COVID-19, which I found out firsthand going to the going to the Kansas Motor Speedway race. I found out Kansas Motor Speedway is not the Power and Light District is not the best place to go during COVID-19. Is the people were not wearing masks, and it was a million people there. So any other time, I would recommend Power and Light District, but I've always had a good time with Power and Light District. But number one, as I just said, ramble on for 10 minutes, almost 10 minutes, that my new favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. I love the Kansas City Chiefs. I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I would love to go to a game one of these days because this version of the team is just a fun team to watch. I, I mean, I mean, I just enjoy watching this team. It brings a lot of happiness to me to watch. It takes away from everything else going on in the world for those 3.5 hours while I'm watching the team play. That is my top five of both. So, which one comes out better, in my opinion? Mm, I'm going to say Kansas City, just because that's Bar Hopkinson in the Power and Light District. My current favorite team is now there, is there. I've been to a NASCAR race there. The amusement parks, hmm, Dallas gets that one, but and they have my favorite place to stop at to get bratwurst. Even though the better place for restaurants that I, in my opinion, and gas stations is Dallas, but Kansas City for the nightlife, sports, and the NASCAR, in my opinion, it's the better ranking in the comparison. That's going to do it for this episode of this new comparison series. If you're new here, please feel free to hit that subscribe button after the video to stay notified on all my current and future whereabouts. And if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Let me know you care. As always, you can visit my Patreon page, patreon.com/roadtripnate. Feel like donating to this channel, every little bit helps and is always much appreciated. But if not, hopefully you enjoyed this video and the many others that are to come. This is Road Trip Nate saying, Happy New Year, everybody. One final thought. My countdown to midnight video that I did right at midnight on New Year's Eve. Within the last 4 days, which is now January 4th, has had 161 views. It is now 26 views away from becoming the most viewed live stream that I've ever done on this channel. So that will be a big accomplishment if that passes top 10 reasons not to move to Northwest Arkansas that I did a while back. That has 186 views. That'll be a shock, big accomplishment if in just a couple of days that surpasses that one for the most views during the live stream. And in just 4 days, it's right up there. Just a few hours ago, I looked at it and it was like at 80 views, so it had a jump of like 81 views in just a couple hours. So I'm pretty proud that my channel is growing. But until next time, road trippers, this is Road Trip Nate saying, so long till the next one.